This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, and faith-focused feature stories with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Good Friday afternoon. Welcome aboard. It'll feel more like March for your first weekend of May. Another frost advisory in effect tonight, and temperatures tomorrow and Sunday will remain well below normal. Tony Ann Sweeney at the National Weather Service tells us how low it will go over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Looks like tonight will be another frosty night with temperatures back into the 30s. The coldest night right now looks like it's going to be Saturday night. Temperatures likely dropping down to near freezing with even some 20s inland from the lakes.
Meteorologist Kevin Williams says the long-range forecast shows below normal conditions right through the middle part of May, maybe even longer. A game changer for your golden years. A big announcement today from President Trump. It's designed to boost bank accounts for low-income workers planning their retirement. Business analyst Taylor Riggs says TrumpIRA.gov will give those without traditional 401ks a chance to build their nest egg.
I love this. We need to get people off of the dependency on big government and then start investing in themselves and becoming financially free. This is one way to do that.
Fox's Madeline Rivera.
The Trump administration is facing pressure to focus more on domestic issues with the midterms quickly approaching and the cost of living still stubbornly high.
The president signs an executive order in Florida this afternoon that will launch this new website, allowing Americans to shop for a retirement plan that's right for them and get a new matching grant from the federal government as well. Today marks a major milestone in the war with Iran. It is the 60-day war powers deadline. That deadline requires the White House cease military action or get congressional approval. War Secretary Pete Hegseth says the deadline does not apply.
We are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops.
The U.S. and Iran agreeing to a ceasefire back on April 7th. The president claims Iran is dying to make a deal to end the fighting. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham warns too much is at stake to wind down the war prematurely.
If you want perpetually high gas prices and a world in chaos, let Iran get back in the game. Let them survive with their nuclear ambitions intact. That's unacceptable. To my Democratic colleagues, I've pretty much had it with the idea that Iran is not a threat to the world.
New York Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand suggested as much during a heated debate yesterday with War Secretary Pete Hegseth.
There's no evidence that we are safer because of this war. We did not have any evidence that Iran intended to imminently attack this country in any way, shape, or form.
Military analyst Gregory Glaros.
I bristle at Senator Gillibrand, who stated that Iran isn't on our shores and therefore isn't a threat. Well, maybe she should count nearly 5,000 American soldiers that are buried in our soil because of Iran's actions over the last 50 years. If that's not a threat, I don't know what is.
Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane told Senate lawmakers yesterday that Russia is actively supporting Iran in its war with us. Gas prices jumping another 9 cents a gallon overnight, regular unleaded averaging $4.39 a gallon nationwide. CBS's Jolene Kent.
There's no escaping it. Gas prices in every single state have soared in the last 7 days. In Indiana, the price for a gallon of regular shot up over $1 in just the last week. Michigan up 86 cents. Ohio spiking 80 cents.
NBC News business analyst Brian Chang.
I think another way to think about this is that since the start of this war, to fuel up the same tank for a Toyota Camry is now $18 more expensive.
Wow.
For a Chevy Suburban, almost $40. So Americans are really feeling the pinch here on their wallets. And all this, again, has to do with the developments out of Iran. If there are no more positive developments, oil barrels will continue to trade higher, and that just means higher prices at the pump for everyone.
New York motorists paying $4.37 a gallon on average. In Pennsylvania, it's $4.41 right now. President Trump signed a bill to end the record 75-day shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security. This means funds will flow again for the Coast Guard, the TSA, FEMA, and the Secret Service. The GOP will fund Border Patrol and ICE through a separate party line reconciliation vote. That's designed to bypass the Senate Senate filibuster. Here's Texas Republican Chip Roy.
Democrats are setting the precedent for taking out ICE and Border Patrol out of the Homeland Security funding. And by the way, two can play at that game. So they're setting a precedent for how this is going to play out from now on.
Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman blames his own party for the longest government shutdown in history. He called it a waste of time that made the nation less safe as a result. New video surfaced showing the California teacher charged with trying to assassinate the president at last week's White House Correspondents' Dinner. The video shows 31-year-old Cole Allen scouting out the area of the Hilton Hotel the day before the attack. Here's Fox's Marian Rafferty.
He wanders through the hotel hallways and gym, appearing to look at exits and doorways. On the night of the shooting, right before Allen charged security, a canine appears to alert to a doorway, but the officer pulls the dog back. Shortly after, Allen comes bolting out carrying a shotgun. He appears to shoot as he runs past agents.
CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns.
7 seconds elapsed from the time he burst through a set of double doors, ran past a security checkpoint, lost his balance, and was apprehended by law enforcement. And in between that time, the Secret Service says the suspect used a shotgun to shoot one of their officers at point-blank range, who was slightly injured.
The alleged would-be assassin was denied bail at a detention hearing yesterday. His next court appearance is Monday, May 11th, when Cole Allen will formally enter a plea. A new 200-page report from the Justice Department shows anti-Christian bias within the Biden administration. It concludes the previous president used the FBI and IRS to unfairly target Christians with unlawful investigations into churches, universities, even faith-based organizations. The Biden DOJ also allegedly aggressively pursued prosecutions against pro-life demonstrators while responding less aggressively to pro-choice activists who broke the law. Reporter Chanley Painter has more.
The task force also showed how pro-life Christians were given longer sentences, nearly double the time on average than their pro-abortion peers for violations of federal law.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says no American should live in fear that the federal government would punish them for their faith. Still to come on the Noon Report for Friday, banning biometrics, Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and Operation Clean Sweep.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams, tracking some showers for the afternoon and prospects for a frosty weekend for many. Forecast details are up in 10.
All right, Kevin, we'll see you then. Thank you. Erie County, New York's become the first county in the Empire State to take aim at biometrics. Here's Family Life's Dee Haley.
The Erie County Legislature has passed a new law banning businesses from collecting or selling biometric data. The law was passed yesterday, and while supporters say it will protect your privacy, critics warn it could affect local businesses. The measure, known as the Biometrics Transparency and Privacy Act, prohibits companies from collecting, storing, or selling biometric identifiers such as facial recognition data, fingerprints, and eye scans. Lawmakers backing the bill say it is designed to safeguard personal information and prevent misuse of sensitive data. Dee Haley, Family Life News.
Thank you, Dee. Those of you considering careers in education should check out a job fair tomorrow at Onondaga Community College in Syracuse. That school's looking to fill dozens of professor and adjunct instructor positions in a variety of fields. The job fair is from noon until 2 p.m. at the Gordon Student Center, which is located on the campus of OCC. Candidates should come prepared. Bring your resume and all your references. Police in the Pennsylvania state capitol are reeling from staffing shortages. More from Family Life's Brian Query.
New data shows Harrisburg police responded to more than 17,000 calls in the first 3 months of the year, but the department is still short dozens of open positions needed to tackle those cases. According to a new report, the Bureau is missing 7 supervisors, 4 detectives, 30 patrol officers, and 2 forensic investigators. That leaves about 110 sworn personnel on the force, below the national average per capita. Officials warn the shortage could lead to longer response times. The department is actively recruiting, offering paid training through Harrisburg Area Community College for new hires. Applicants must be at least 21 years old with a high school diploma or GED. Brian Query, Family Life News.
Thank you, Brian. A new study shows more Americans than ever before are working past retirement age. 11 million senior citizens still collecting a paycheck, driven by necessity, rising healthcare costs, and increased longevity.
The average Social Security benefit in 2026 is only $2,071 a month, but people are spending for just their basic necessities $4,641 a month. So they really need that extra money.
Reporter Maya Blackstone says the share of older adults holding down a job has doubled since the 1980s. The labor force participation rate for the 65 and up crowd is now more than 19%. The CDC says emergency room visits for tick bites are higher than usual this year. Rebecca Roll with Lyme, Western New York, says ticks don't care whether you're in the city or in the country.
Ticks don't know borders. They don't know that they've left the woods. They don't know that they've, hopped onto a rodent and now they're in an urban setting. It's everywhere.
She tells WIVB you need to check yourself for ticks anytime you're outside because tick bites can cause Lyme disease.
A tick can be the size of a period at the end of a sentence. So it's a lot of times people don't see them. So really do a thorough tick check every single time after coming indoors. Make sure that you're using preventative sprays on your skin. We typically recommend a product called Sawyer that has picaridin or permethrin on your gear.
Roll says while some people with Lyme disease will develop a rash, others will not. Without treatment, Lyme disease can lead to serious health complications. It's the 1st of May, and that means Skin Cancer Awareness Month. Correspondent Jim Krasula.
More than 200,000 Americans will be diagnosed with melanoma this year alone. That's a 42% increase over the past decade. Dr. Marissa Garshik is a dermatologist in New York City.
We have things that we can do to prevent skin cancer from happening, and we want to make sure people are also aware that they get their skin checked to help with early detection of any skin cancers.
For those diagnosed with skin cancer, there's a 99% survival rate when caught early versus just 32% once it spreads.
Buffalo, New York's Pilgrim Baptist Church hosted its annual Bible Boot Camp for Kids conference recently. It's run in conjunction with National Youth Violence Prevention Week and focuses on faith, mentoring, and real-world challenges that children face on a daily basis. Sanji Collins with Buffalo Peacemakers helped organize the event.
We're trying to assist them in showing them that they are somebody, they are important, we love them, and there are things that they can be doing other than doing any violence.
Collins telling WKBW special workshops during the week-long boot camp help kids dealing with depression and anxiety. Rochester, New York, holding its 20th annual Clean Sweep tomorrow. Residents urged to pitch in and help spruce up their neighborhoods. Last year, a record number of volunteers took part. Participants are asked to arrive at the Rochester Red Wings baseball stadium at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Work crews will then fan out across the Flower City and take part in spring cleaning operations. At the end of the day, everyone who took part in Clean Sweep will get a free ticket to a Red Wings baseball game. The Buffalo Sabres get another shot tonight to advance to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's Game 6 in their series against the Boston Bruins. Buffalo holds a 3-2 lead after losing Game 5 in overtime. The Sabres look to advance past the first round for the first time since 2007. The puck drops at 7:30 tonight in Beantown. We've got more sports next. It's the 2-minute drill on the Family Life Noon Report.
History in the making. Good afternoon. I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, the New York Knicks blew out the Atlanta Hawks and eliminated them from the playoffs last night, 140-89. The Knicks led by an NBA playoff record 47 points at halftime, and at one point, they were up by as many as 61 points. OG Anunoby led the scoring. He had 29. Mikal Bridges chipped in the 24. And Karl Anthony Towns had a 12-point, 11-rebound, 10-assist triple-double. New York awaits the Boston-Philadelphia winner in the second round because that series is going to a Game 7. as the 76ers never trailed in probably their best game of the season. Philly was clicking on all cylinders as they beat the C's 106-93. Tyrese Maxey scored 30. Paul George added 23. Joel Embiid flirted with a triple-double. He had 19 points, 10 boards, and 8 assists. T-Wolves eliminated Denver 110-98. On the ice, both the Wild and Ducks are moving on to the second round with identical 5-2 victories. To baseball, the Phillies now 3-0 under new skipper Donnie Baseball as they took 2 from the Giants 3-2, 6-5. The Mets fell to the Nats 5-4. The Pirates got swept at home, falling to the Cardinals 10-5. Elsewhere, the Reds beat the Rockies 6-4. Milwaukee hammered Arizona 13-1. And the Tigers knocked off the Braves 5-2. That is a look at sports.
All right, thank you very much, Randy. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Still to come on the Noon Report. March like to start May. Jump in earthworms. And the Capital Connection crew. Right after this.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. Recently, I spoke with author and theologian Dr. Carl Trueman about his new book, The Desecration of Man, How the Rejection of God Degrades Our Humanity. Both in the interview and in the book, Dr. Trueman clarified that though the recent pushback on dehumanizing ideologies such as transgenderism is a welcome development, the degradation of humanity will inevitably continue. Here's Dr. Trueman.
I rejoice in the setbacks that the trans lobby has faced. I'm not willing to do a lap of victory yet because I think they're well funded and highly organized. We need to keep up the pressure. But what's interesting, of course, is how this came about. And I think if you look at the American situation, you have to say Elon Musk plays a very significant role in this. Partly, or maybe largely, because his own family has been tragically affected by the trans issue. And praise God that Elon Musk was able to influence the current administration in I think, a healthy, sane direction on the issue of gender. But when you take a step back and look at Elon Musk, I'd say on that issue, he's right. But actually, he's still part of the larger problem. Because if we don't treat transgenderism in isolation, but see it as part of the larger transhumanist project, this idea of smashing through human limits, then Elon Musk he's on the forefront of that. So one of the things I've tried to say to students this year is, praise God for Elon Musk on this issue. That's great. But realize that transgenderism is more connected philosophically to transhumanism than it is to the L, the G, and the B. That's the political alliance. The philosophical issue is transhumanism. And transhumanism really involves the abolition of man.
In other words, the fantasies of transhumanism are birthed from the very same ideological lies as was transgenderism. You can hear my full conversation with Dr. Carl Trueman on the Breakpoint podcast, and also receive a copy of his tremendous book, The Desecration of Man, How the Rejection of God Degrades Our Humanity, this month by making a gift of any amount to the Colson Center. Go to colsoncenter.org/May to learn more and to request your copy of the book. Again, that's colsoncenter.org/May. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
Thanks, John. Weather where you live with meteorologist Kevin Williams. Next.
Here is your family life forecast. A disturbance eastbound from Ohio will mean some showers for us this afternoon into this evening. Highest temperatures in the 50s. Later tonight, skies partially clear and some frost will form below in the 30s. For tomorrow, well, still chilly, but overall it's just a mix of clouds and sunshine with an isolated shower. High temperatures upper 40s and 50s, and Sunday starts frosty, but fair amount of sunshine ahead with high temperatures generally in the 50s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. This is the Noon Report. Here's what's happening Friday, the 1st of May. There's been another big spike in gas prices. AAA says the price at the pump went up nearly 10 cents a gallon overnight. Correspondent Nancy Cordes.
Even as gas prices shot up Thursday, President Trump promised relief.
As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it.
But U.S. gas prices have been climbing for 9 straight weeks, from an average of $2.98 a gallon in late February to $4.39 a gallon now. In Indiana, the price per gallon is up more than $1 in just 1 week.
At $5 a gallon, I about wilted like an old flower. It's bad.
The price hikes in a midterm election year are making some Republican lawmakers nervous.
It's a real problem for affordability. It's also a big political problem.
New video evidence has surfaced in the case against 31-year-old Cole Allen. He's the California teacher accused of trying to assassinate the president at a Washington hotel last weekend.
The video shows Allen 24 hours earlier, calmly walking down the hotel hallway and, quote, casing the area, according to Janine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. He briefly goes into the hotel gym, looking around, then smiling and talking to the attendant. The next night, just 13 minutes before the alleged attack, Allen is walking down that same hallway in a black trench coat that prosecutors allege he used to conceal weapons on his body.
Nicole Skanga reporting. You're listening to the Noon Report for Friday on Family Life. This is Capital Connection. Fridays during the Noon Report, we give you direct connection to all that's happening in Albany and Harrisburg with the experts on the issues at the state capitals. They are this week Jason McGuire with New York Families and Dan Barkowiak at the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Well, Dan, let's start with you this week. The Pennsylvania House on a party line vote approving the Fairness Act, a measure that would ban discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. You argue there's nothing fair about the Fairness Act. Explain to our audience how this vote developed in Harrisburg and what happens next.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. This was certainly the talk of Harrisburg this week, and it's something we've raised concerns over the years, just with the broad implications, especially with religious liberty. I think one of the striking moments in the debate this week was hearing lawmakers claim about separation of church and state, but then at the same time they were invoking scripture, and I'd say out of context sometimes, defending a position that really is threatening religious ministries, schools, issues of privacy, fairness, women's private spaces. It has all these implications with this law. So certainly it's an issue people, especially Christians, should be informed and engaged upon. You can learn more at pafamily.org with our organization. But yeah, this was an issue that was moving through fast in the House and certainly need to be aware of it.
Yeah, any chance the Senate takes this up, or will they just say thanks but no thanks?
Well, it seems thankfully there are Senate leadership that understand the real implications of this bill, that it's going to impact schools, it's going to impact women's sports. So thankfully there is some pushback in the Senate. But again, I think the more engagement we can be with our elected officials on this, because it's been something we've been engaging upon for over a decade, we need to continue that discussion.
All right. Well, hey, it's May 1st, Jason, and that means the state budget is officially a month late. Who blinks first in these ongoing negotiations between the governor and the state legislature? I mean, it's all one-party rule in Albany. The Democrats control everything. So when does this start to hurt the party heading into the midterms?
Well, I don't know that it's going to hurt the party heading into the midterms no matter what happens. The reality is people are very ideologically driven today. So I don't think that's going to happen. But the question is whether or not lawmakers are going to feel the pinch of their pocketbooks. I mean, right now, they have not gotten paid in a month, and people are getting cranky when they don't get their paychecks. So this is a situation to where the governor continues to get paid. She's got the upper hand in this position, and now it's up to the legislature to determine how soon they're going to fold. And I expect that individual members are pressuring their leaders to make a deal because they want to see those paychecks roll again.
Gotcha. Well, hey, we're still talking about that Commonwealth Court decision, Dan. So damaging on Medicaid-funded abortions. Pennsylvania now allowing taxpayer-funded abortions. What happens next? Is there plans to appeal this decision?
Yeah, there's certainly ongoing conversations on the next steps. I would point every listener to be praying for Attorney General Dave Sunday, his team, just for wisdom on the next steps, because we're certainly engaging in that discussion. But yeah, I mean, going to the ruling, it is deeply discouraging. Commonwealth Court, what they are really enshrining into our Constitution, and it's a reminder that elections matter. As I read through the decision, it was made by Judge Matt Wolf, who wrote it, and he was endorsed by Planned Parenthood 2023. So it's again a reminder every election matters. We have a primary election coming up May 19th. But certainly, yes, be praying for Attorney General Sunday and just the wisdom moving forward.
Yeah. Well, Jason, you are arguing on your website this week for the governor to opt the state into a federal tax credit scholarship program. Why do you feel so strongly about this?
Well, we just simply believe that students need greater opportunities in New York. We have largely a failing public education system, and where parents want to give opportunities for their kids to actually graduate, to actually have some hope for their future, that may mean a different educational option than is available in many places in the state. If the governor would allow students in New York to participate in that federal tax credit scholarship program, which was a part of that big, beautiful bill that President Trump likes to talk about, if she will allow students to opt into this, well, that's an opportunity for a whole lot of students in the state that do not have it right now. Yeah. And the good news is we hear that the governor is inclined to do so, but we expect there will be fierce opposition, so voices need to be raised to urge to opt in to that federal tax credit scholarship program.
Would this be something included in the budget negotiations or a separate matter after the budget's decided?
It's probably going to follow the budget negotiations. It does not require the legislature to act. It's simply a signature from the governor, so the governor can do it, and we would trust that she will. Otherwise, those dollars are just simply going to students in other states. That makes no sense for our kids here.
Yeah, indeed. Dan, I know you were troubled last week when the Trump administration reclassified marijuana as a Schedule III drug. He's also providing tax breaks to the marijuana industry. How will this action hurt efforts in Pennsylvania to prevent the commercial sale of cannabis?
Yeah, while Pennsylvania is still considered illegal from a recreational standpoint, and I think our medical program needs a lot of fixing, rescheduling marijuana, it's going to have real consequences. There are billions in tax breaks to the industry, and that's an industry that, frankly, profits off of the more addictive use of their increasingly addictive products. So, we're seeing more kids ending up in ERs, more impaired driving, growing concerns, mental health. What's frustrating is it seems policy decisions like this, there could have been decisions to help from a health standpoint, analyzing the impacts of marijuana use. But yet this is more seeming like it's benefiting the industry and the industry players versus health and safety of citizens. And so really the community is going to be facing the fallout on this.
Yeah. Jason, let's talk about faith-based end-of-life care, the Catholic organization that is at risk in New York State because of a 2023 mandate. Explain what's going on here in this case and why our listeners need to be paying attention to this.
Yeah, this involves the case of the Dominican Sisters of Hawthorne, which are an order of Catholic nuns who operate a place called Rosary Hill Home in Westchester County. This home is a place that does not require any payment. It's driven by donations, and they provide palliative care to poor persons with terminal cancer. Well, because of this 2023 law, it requires that this home really align all of their policies with people's so-called gender identities. And so if there is a person who comes in this place who is transgender and wants to use an opposite-sex restroom or wants to engage in some kind of sexual relationship or wants to identify by preferred personal pronouns or whatever it might be, according to this 2023 law, the sisters, the Dominican sisters at Rosary Hill Home, have to allow that. Well, they're in court trying to defend their right to exercise their religious liberty and to simply be extending compassion and mercy to those in need.
Yeah, and I see the Attorney General won't back down on this. I think their fines are like $2,000 a day, just astronomical, something they can't afford. And hopefully they will win the day here in that case. And then, guys, before we go, of course, next week, the National Day of Prayer is Thursday. But, Dan, in Pennsylvania, you're kicking things off early with an event at the state capitol on Wednesday. Would you please explain what's going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, really, I loved just the other week, I was with the Christian Homeschool Association of Pennsylvania, and we sang How Great Thou Art in the Capitol Rotunda. And it's just so beautiful to hear hymns being sung in our Capitol. And so if you haven't had that experience, certainly encourage you to do so in one opportunity, yes, with the National Day of Prayer. With session ending Wednesday, we wanted to make it on a session day. So May 6th, 9 a.m. in the main rotunda, inviting really any and all to join us. We'd love to have really that whole space in the rotunda being filled with those singing hymns and praying on this National Day of Prayer. So hope to see folks in our Capitol.
There's nothing so powerful as public prayer. I think this is the 74th annual National Day of Prayer, Jason, and you're going to be one of the 35,000 events nationwide celebrating this. Explain to our audience what New York Family has planned for the National Day of Prayer.
Yeah, it's the 75th year, Bob, so this is a big one.
Off a year. Check my math.
This year, no problem. This year's theme is to glorify God among the nations, seeking Him in all generations. I just think it's a great theme. It's it's the 250th birthday of America this year. We're celebrating that later this year. We're just coming off America Reads the Bible in Washington, D.C. There's a call to rededicate America to the Lord on May 17th. And so now is a great opportunity for people to come to their state capitals and really at the state level to then just gather together in collective prayer to say there's a need for the Lord to be intervening in our state and the nation.
Amen. Prayer works. You just got to do it. And there's more information on your guys' websites about these two important events next week. Hey, we've been a lot of places this week, Dan. If folks have questions about any of the topics discussed today, or they simply would like to learn more about the PA Family Institute, where can they find you online?
PAFamily.org.
And stay involved on all the issues in New York, and New York Families doing a great work in Albany. Jay, where can folks find you?
NewYorkFamilies.org.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Capital Connection, the name of the program. It comes your way every Friday during the Noon Report or online anytime at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and FamilyLife.org. And finally, at noon for a Friday, talk about your heebie-jeebies, invasive Asian worms that can leap a foot into the air are spreading across this country. Correspondent Sarah Lee Kessler has an update.
They've turned up in 38 states, including New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and in Michigan, Colorado, Georgia, and California. Jumping worms, as they're called, can grow to 6 inches long and are red, brown, and sometimes metallic looking. They eat important nutrients in soil that plants need to sprout and grow. You don't want these invasive pests around, so experts say if you spot jumping worms in your garden, drown them in vinegar or seal them in a plastic bag and leave it in the sun for 10 minutes before throwing it out. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
All right, thank you very much, Sarah. And just like that, our time is up. That's our world, the world we live in. Friday, the first day of May. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm Bob Price, Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at FamilyLife.org.